Two will have to put up with you.
Match managing both of them. So can you be for next
Here's my little favourite. How you going? All ready?
Good, already.
Brilliant.
I've got an extra one here today. I've got an extra one here today. Yes. He's up here. You can go grab him now.
Come and steal it and take it down the bench with me.
We ordered one that wouldn't. I'll let you know how that goes.
Welcome to Darcy Street for Sunday afternoon NPL Tasmania football. We've got South Hobart taking on the Glenorchy Knights for you here this afternoon as the season winds towards its conclusion just today. And next Saturday left before it all comes to an end. The Devonport Strikers have already wrapped up the title. South Hobart are looking to secure second place on the table. The Knights should be able to finish fifth, but points today would help them in that endeavour. It's a pretty overcast kind of a day here. Fairly ever-present threat of rain about, but so far holding off. But that could certainly be a factor in the second half. We'll see how that affects the players. The pitch for this time of year in reasonably good condition, really, given the thumping it's had all season. So set for it should be a pretty good game. South Hobart battling a few injuries. A little bit flat midweek against Kingborough. The Glenorchy Knights, meanwhile, coming off a pretty impressive win over the Hobart Zebras. So we should have a pretty good game in prospects. The underdogs every chance today, I would have thought, as we'll take a look at the team and lineups. But first off, good afternoon to Paul Hunt.
Good afternoon, Andrew Coon. Pleasure to be here as always. And yeah, I concur. The pitch is looking pretty good for, well, it's now September. I was going to say winter time. It's come through pretty unscathed. We've sort of haven't had too many of those windy, rainy days that often accompany Darcy Street football. Ones that matches that South Hobart are very much used to playing in and do use to their advantage often. But as you say, Knights come into this one plenty to play for, certainly in terms of league table, potentially a little more than South Hobart, who need to clinch that fifth spot for what I believe would be a successful season on their return to the NPL, I would have thought.
Yeah, I think obviously they probably were aiming a bit higher at the start of the season. Plenty of injuries have made life tough for them today. Of course, largely about sending off that man there, Dimitri Nesta, his final game for the club. What a great servant he has been on the Tasmanian Football League scene. He's had some pretty good performances this year. He's got his little kids walking out there with him, and it should be a pretty special occasion for Dimmy Nesta. But first we're going to have a minute's silence for a relative of that man, Nesta. Referee Tony Pert signifying the end of the minute's silence. So to the starting lineups today here for Glenorchy Knights and South Hobart. Starting with the hosts, who've had another tough run of injuries midweek. Nick Morton with a shocking leg break. We hope the best for him. That was a tough one midweek, just adding to a raft of injuries they've suffered this year. But they do have Adam Gorry locked in at fullback. Jack Bowman and Hugh Ludford will partner each other in defence. Farrell and Kemp, probably a likely duo in midfield. Declan Foley we saw play centre-back the other night, so perhaps Jack Bowman might be a fullback looking at that. Toby Havine, and we'll wait and see. It could be a back five, either that or Foley gets pushed into midfield. It's a pretty versatile squad, really. Graham Wright in net. Sam Toos, another youngster, gets the opportunity with those injuries. Sam Berezanski getting another start. He really lifted them when he came on midweek against Kingborough. They were a bit flat till he came on late. Got the equaliser, added a bit. An exciting name on the bench, Noah Gardner, recently called up to the Joey squad. We'll wait and see if he gets on and gets a chance to show what he can do. The 15-year-old of some talent. Tay Evans, Riley Morton, Casper Hallam, really it's childcare on the bench today for the South Hobart side.
With the childcare there in Mark Moncur as well, still in the top 5 oldest players to ever play a FFA Cup round of 32 game, and that was a few years ago. So he's still doing well, is Mark Moncur, obviously keeping in the Challenge League as well since Kieran Brown's absence to America as well. But probably be close to the most youthful bench I think I've ever seen. Yeah,
I don't think we get much younger than that as we flip over to the Glenorchy Knights. And that man Nesta at the top for the final time. The savvy vet, we'll see what he can produce in goals tonight. Hopefully ends with a good performance. Nicholas Naden will be up in attack. Tyler Harrison, you would imagine, probably partnering Thomas Young in the defence. Jade Clay, a very versatile player. May well see him fullback or wing. Marnie probably the other option to play the left side. Toghill will be right back. Ryan Backhouse gets the opportunity today. The youngster, it looks like Jade Clay, in fact, is moving to centre half alongside Harrison, so that means Tom Young will play midfield with Gutierrez Chavez, and Backhouse has been shifted out to fullback. And we've got Aaron Marnie on the right wing. Lazinski leading the line against his former side. This should be a cracking game. Kadisha, Bellini, Sherman and Hart rounding out that bench, and I just love the fact that the big general's just put himself on there again. He subbed himself on at the end of last week just to make sure of the result. And would love to see him sub himself on and take a free kick. It's certainly something to look out for today, I think.
I think that's really the story of this game is just the kind of the smaller subplots that are surrounding this game. You've got Sherman on the bench. You got Dimitri Nesta's last game. You've got players like Thomas Young trying to insert himself for the Tasmania squad and really put on a good performance in advance of next week's game. And then you've got Dogger Brown on the bench, moving up from assistant to coach. Ken Morton apparently missing his first ever game due to suspension in a long and illustrious career. As the ball goes towards the back post, the fearsome beard of Toghill will head that away. Marnie will do the rest. And then you've got the likes of, as you mentioned, Lazinski against his old team. Whilst not a huge amount to play for in the league, there is certainly plenty of intrigue going into this one. There's Havine throws it into Foley, who has appeared to be playing a more midfield role, more traditional to him, as Gutierrez Chavez tries to find a teammate. Not happening there. And back out to Graham Wright.
Yeah, so young Laka Seljuk leading the line. The interesting one was playing in central midfield a month ago, but looks like he and Kobe Kemp will be joining Berezanski in fairly attacking roles here this afternoon at Darcy Street, as Ludford just drives one over the top looking for Laka Seljuk, away from him by Clay. And so far as Kobe Kemp slides through a wonderful ball there for twos, but there's some good defence scrambling across from Jade Clay. Read the danger. That's the threat Kobe Kemp will offer playing in those advanced areas. He'll drop passes. And so far as Kobe Kemp the defence there. Surgical stuff from Kemp, who's shown his quality upon his return to South Hobart over the last month that he's been back. Bowman and Foley, robbed of it by Young, puts it to Lazinski. Now Bellini had one of the most outrageous assists you'll ever see a couple of weeks ago.
If you haven't seen that, please watch it. It is, I'm going to claim the assist of the year, I reckon.
Yeah,
it is
100%.
Extraordinary. As just trying to work out, it does seem like they're rolling out the back. Well, it does look like a back four, but sometimes Farrell is dropping that deep. You could be confused for thinking it's a back five, as Aaron pass down the wing looking towards Kobe Kemp. Another one set to be here next Sunday at Darcy Street. Tasmania versus Central Coast Mariners game. An impressive on his return to the state after a brief stint over in Victoria. Like a Seljack to weave his way through traffic, as was Twos. Gorry throws the ball in. Was Twos fouled there? Nothing given by the referee. And eventually the Knights will come clear. Lovely turn again from Bellini. Finds Young. Toghill. Marnie further advanced as well. Knocks it back to Gutierrez Chavez. Marnie. Lazinski. Good build up here from the Knights as Toghill trying to get around the back. Ludford managing to read that one. Can only get it out for a throw, but that's the sort of quick movement forward I think Sherman would like to see from his troops this afternoon.
Yeah, it's frustrated by their inability earlier in the year to string passes together, but some nice movement there, and they're starting to end the season in pretty good touch, the Knights, playing some decent football of late. And they'll love to claim the scalp of South Hobart to head into next year with a series of big wins. Beating the Zebras in South in consecutive weeks would be something they could certainly build on, as Kobe Kemp leads the attack here, rolls it out to Adam Gorry. Early cross looking for Twos. Again, Jade Clay was there to steer it away. Gorry and Foley centrally for the Frenchman, Luke Farrell, but that's cut out by Aaron Marnie. Marnie looking for Lazinski. Bowman just stepping in front of his former teammate. Ludford driving it long, almost spilt for Berezanski. Kemp and Foley. It was a loose pass from Kobe Kemp. Young, Lazinski, and now Naden. He's got Marnie making a bursting run. Heads there, but not really quite enough pace on the ball. Marnie will go gather it and wait for some support. Coasting inside Marnie. Lazinski. Gutierrez Chavez, a wasteful ball that straight to Adam Gorry. Miscontrolled by Twos. Nice slide in it. Spills for Nick Naden. Slid one through there for Bellini. Going himself, Berezanski. Kasudek will give chase, but in vain after that one.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever seen Laka Seljack start up front before in any of the games. We've seen him out at right wing once or twice, looking to run off Hamlet. It'll be interesting to see how he goes. Certainly got the pace to get in behind, but not the biggest of bodies, especially compared to the other target man for the opposition in Albie Lazinski, who's Gutierrez Chavez. Now goes to Naden, calls for handball. Advantage paid by Tony Perk. Good flick there from Lazinski. The two number threes running at it, but Gorry always had the step on Naden and concedes a throw in. So the Knights certainly not sitting back and looking to absorb any sort of pressure in the opening stages. Lazinski squaring up against Bowman. That's the direction the throw will go. Flick on from Lazinski. Going in is Marnie with the header off the post. Aaron Marnie, just about the shortest player on the pitch, making the near post run. He probably should have made that 1-0.
Yeah, the long throw flicked on brilliantly by Lazinski, just right into the danger area. Linen doing just enough to put him off perhaps, but a big opportunity. He's begging there for Aaron Marnie. Perhaps he should have nodded that one home. Onto the woodwork. It's an early warning shot here, and the Knights have started pretty well. Gutierrez Chavez. There's 5 to pick out. Don't think Kemp knew anything about that, but deflects behind for another corner. And they'll go from the opposite flank.
I wasn't terribly convinced by Ludford almost looking to head it back towards his own goal there as well. Not the most convincing display of defending I've seen.
Just enough to steer it behind, but yeah, it wasn't. It was a ball that was well hit, but not really in the vicinity of the Knights attackers. We'll see if Bellini can produce something a little more threatening, and it's through a sea of bodies and out the back it spills. Kemp drives it long, didn't quite have enough on it to find Laka Seljuk. Backhouse breaking it up and then trying to find Gutierrez Chavez. Away from him by the archer.
Backhouse goes short towards Naden. He thought about pulling the trigger there, and eventually he will nick Naden. Graham Wright seemed to have that one covered the whole way. A few excitable cheers in the crowd. From our angle, it did look like it was going to curl a bit closer towards goal. Graham Wright pretty confident of his bearings there. And now Ludford looks up and wants by an option. Graham Wright getting a few early touches as they try to create some space south. Ludford, low ball towards Berezanski. Now Laka Seljuk trickily gets around one, then runs into Aramani. Still ends up with it. Tolkill. Bellini muscled off by Foley. Now Laka Seljuk trying to stay on side with twos. Goes back towards Kemp. And Tolkill eventually gets a foot in. Lazinski not quite winning the header. Will go all the way back out to the keeper. Obviously Declan Foley as well. Another nice subplot with someone, a member of Come Knights, playing for South Hobart, now playing against the Knights. Need a little triangle or Venn diagram to figure that one out. There's Gutierrez Chavez. Tries to find Naden. Eventually only finds the archer who lets that one into the tennis court.
Lazinski launching this one. A long throw. Powerful man, big Albie. Twos. Couldn't get that one past Gutierrez Chavez. Dove back in. Now everyone claiming the throw. South will get it down there. Adam Gorry. The quality year from South Hobart fullback. He drops that one off to Loic Farrell. Back to Adam Gorry. Sprays his pass back to Graham Wright. South just taking a little while to warm to the task here today. 10 minutes in, Knights shading the early going as Jack Bowman doesn't see a lot on offer he liked there. Snogger calls for ball speed. Slow would be the response to that just for the moment. If it was a question, might have been a suggestion just to raise it a little.
A pointed suggestion, I think, if it's coming from the mouth of Dogger Brown on the sideline.
We'll see, relishing the senior role today. Ken Morton managed to the stands after a red card midweek against Kingborough. Fairly understandable why emotions were running high, I'd have thought, there in the second half. And obviously Nick breaking the leg just beforehand. And this one spills the way of twos. And he'll find a corner here for South, a chance to get to work here from the set piece.
And they're certainly, I don't know if it certainly doesn't seem like it's intentional they're going for the more methodical build-up. But they have managed to win a corner out of it, so not all for naught. It was Gorry very good over the set piece, looks for the run of Ludford, and eventually goes over the back towards Farrell. Might fall for Berezanski. He wants Kemp. Mavinen tries to spray one out to Gorry. Marnie gets a head in. Kemp will concede the throw in. Not coming to much so far for South. Gutierrez Chavez. Raking ball looking for Marnie. Cleared by Havinen. Cushion header from Lazinski. Fearsome beard of Tolkill. Back to Young. Really good to see Thomas Young back in the starting lineup and playing a few games in a row. And a terrible run with injury at the start of this season. Nesta getting some meaningful touches on the ball. I was doing a bit of research last night. Apparently not the first time he's tried to retire. There's a few rumours floating around about 2010, 2011 he might give it away, but when he was playing for Olympia, eventually came back and has played a few more years.
A few more, that's 8 more.
It is a few 8 more. That was my exact thought last night. It was still on side. It's a great run there from twos. Vinen's free at the back post. It might fall to Berezanski. And the youngster He came off the bench on Wednesday night to Eklon, puts his side ahead here today.
Yeah, 2 in the week for Semi Berezanski, and a bit of a gift that one. Just sat there beautifully, and poor Jimmy Nestor in his final game has been utterly stitched up here by this touch. Tyler Harrison has just about laid on the perfect assist with the back heel. Just brought it to a beautiful stop, set it up, and said, all right, Semi, pick your spot. He duly did. And South really, from their first chance of the game, opened the scoring here. And just one that Harrison, I think, would like to have back.
Yeah, if it wasn't for... They were all wearing the exact same colours. You'd think that was Ben Hamlet flicking that back to Berezanski at the start there. That's how good a touch it was from Harrison, but he certainly did not mean it. And, I mean, Berezanski is put on a platter. You'd be shocked if he missed from there. And did well, the youngster. Started a few games in that sort of start of the season. They were really down on injuries, and then they've drawn more to a bench role and is relishing the chance in the last couple of days. Foley and Toggill having a nice challenge. Dogger Brown. He's a master of the dark arts, and that is exactly why. Trying to get a free kick from that. Wasn't quite Cosmina and Muscat down there on the sideline all those years ago. It was Bellini trying to work his tricks towards Young. Young with a good ball in, and it's nearly fallen to Naden. Blazinski goes crashing in. Well, he pulled out at the last minute there on Bowman, but the free kick given. I'd love to see that bit of work there from Dogger Brown again.
Oh, the shenanigans outstanding from the master of the dark arts. Just blatant nice throw. He's got straight off his teammate, just appeals for the free. Tony's already pointing before he's appealed for it, and then just keeps it away from Toggill.
And then does the casual, I've been hit 3 steps back as Togsy tried to get the ball there.
They hardly enemies, those two. No. Just some good banter between Brown and Toggill. As this one's over the top for Lazinski. Just did really well to control it there, Big Albie, but his pass lacks the right weight. It was a dangerous moment starting to develop for the Knights. Good initial work from the front man. Needs to hit a little more on the pass as Kobe Kemp tries to thread the eye of the needle again. And slicing through balls he loves to play, the magic man Bellini. Finds Nick Naden on the left. He's crossed straight into the Warhorse Ludford. Brown calling for some movement to spread the field a little bit. Knights perfectly content just to sit off and not press here, and South realising that are just going to take their sweet time at the back.
Was he? I didn't quite hear Brown give that instruction.
He certainly got a good command of the technical area, Brown. As Wright strokes it to the archer.
I mean, they're in front, South, so I mean they can just sort of do this for the rest of the game if they really want to.
They pull the trigger eventually, looking for Kemp, away from him by Backhouse. So yeah, very, very patient at the back, and in no mood to rush things. And Knights, it seems, are perfectly happy to sit off them in these early stages. Tactics, the two coaches. We'll see how that plays out as Gorry looking for Berezanski, casting the target man role. Not really his game there, young Sammy, is Lazinski, who is the very definition of a target man, does well to work this one across to the magic man Bellini. And Bellini slides it through for Marnie. He's got 3 in the middle here, and he goes past Tavainen. Lloyd Farrell in support. Marnie was doing well, but he couldn't get his cross pass. Hugh Ludford, tidy from Berezanski. Very tidy from Berezanski. Opens the play up to Adam Gorry. Gorry for 2s, was just behind him a little. Kemp coming through. And Toghill just clearing the area. Gorry. And trying to get him behind a Backhouse. Players just struggling to keep their footing on a slippery surface. A bit of rain starting to come down now. And look at the complete lack of interest Knights have chasing that ball. They've clearly been told they're not pressing in the opposition half. They just turned and looked at it.
I did notice James Sherman was here last week for the game between South and Riverside. Maybe spotted something there that Riverside did quite well and just sort of sat off and absorbed some pressure. And if South have just got it in their own half, not really to bother. Alex from Riverside last week had a similar strategy. Riverside managed to hold out a little longer than the Knights have, so they might have to change something up a bit sooner. And Graham Wright and the Archer Jack Bowman exchange passes. Really congested once it gets to that part of the field, and then they end up just going the long ball, goes towards Kemp. There's Gorry on his outside. Havinen at the back post is lurking. Gorry does look in that direction, goes there to Havinen. Good headed clearance from Marnie. Young does the rest. Foley sizing that one up. Loft towards Harrison, and then Young makes it clear. Ludford, Tolkiel, eventually falls to Havinen. Coming inside on his right. Goes the low pass, cleared by Backhouse. Now Bellini. Foley, extravagant appeal for the free kick there. Almost like the end of a floor routine pose there from Foley. Ball to Berezanski, nearly. Young. Tolkiel. And eventually they'll call the free kick for the Knights against Declan Foley.
Good organisation at the back there from the Knights. Look pretty solid dealing with that. Young and Gutierrez, Chavez dropping back in to support the centre-backs, and pretty tough to get through all those bodies for South. So now look to come back the other way through Backhouse. Couldn't find Lazinski. Bowman to Kemp. And Farrell into the head of Tyler Harrison. Very real ping pong here, and eventually spills to Foley in the bullseye. Havinen. Now it's Ludford. Harrison read it well, but then played it back into a pretty dangerous area, and Jade Clay just says anywhere but here and thumps it out of there.
Nearly another accidental assist there for Tyler Harrison. And he's Havinen moves it towards Ludford. It ends up with Lakaseljic, so advantage will be played. Now Kemp in shooting range, Kobe Kemp, but it just dribbled a little too far out of that cultured right foot of his. Now to Gorry. Slips over. Will end up being a pass towards Kemp. 50-50 contest being waved away from the referee. Gorry. Farrell, now twos. Heavy touch. Gives Bellini a sniff. Just running out of real estate. There was twos. Good pressure. Now he's got chance to unders Bellini up against Bowman. Always had the step and plays it comfortably back to the keeper. Yeah, just getting back to that point where I wasn't almost comes across. I was hating on Debbie Nestor nearly retiring all those years ago. He did nearly have a year off in between there from Olympia joining the Knights. And it was a key part of their championship winning side. And they're still playing them on their return to the National Premier League, which is good to see, and a well-deserved retirement, and gets a final game, which is really good to see for one of the standout keepers in the state the last 10 to 15 years has been Dimmy Nestor.
Yeah, he's had some fine games and some fine saves in those years. A storied career for Dimmy Nestor. We had young Lockie Hart go past him on the depth chart this year, but he's been a wonderful player. And this year even there's been 3 or 4 occasions he's played starring roles. As this one, Havinen had have been just on his toes there, might have found one to pounce upon. Probably a bit too much on it anyway, as it slid through to Nestor.
Which game was it at KG5 that Lee called where he was just absolutely on fire? I think it was earlier this year. It was the City. Might have been against Olympia as well. I think some of the ones we're thinking of. Yeah, really kept his side in at some occasions at the start of this year. There's Havinen. Foley with plenty of time and space. Gorry. And a wall of white in front of him, starting with Nick Naden. One's Berezanski. Skipping away from challenges. There's Foley. Farrell sizing up the diagonal, and will go to Toby Havinen. Looks up and crosses the ball near post. Toghill getting plenty of air, but not a lot of distance. Foley. Chip ball over the head of Lakaseljak. Out harmlessly for a goal kick. South at least starting to lift the tempo a bit, especially compared to that first 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, halfway through the first half here. It's South Hobart 1-0. Knights have hit the post. And a little bit more of the play, but South just pouncing on the one real chance they've had in this match. Berezanski was hardly going to decline the gift that just sat for him in the box. A fair contest in prospect here at the moment. The Knights showing they're well and truly up for it today. And tough to break down. And you have to think capable of goals as the afternoon develops, and certainly the threat of rain developing too. It's getting darker and darker here at Darcy Street. Could be a real factor in the second half. It's Hugh Ludford. Again, this has been the real pattern of the match. Eventually they'll drive down the right through Bowman and play it direct up towards Kemp. Rolling back to Farrell. Kemp classily onto the left, then swings it in, looking for Lakaseljak, and desperate defence from Tyler Harrison, diving in with the header behind for a corner. Well done by the Knights skipper.
Lakaseljak in front end two's making a good diagonal run. Right behind him as well. Crucial header there from Harrison. Adam Gorry goes more centrally, nearly to the head of Lakaseljak. It'll fall to Berezanski. Thought about the shot. And Kemp. Back out to Gorry. Another one into the mix-up. Acrobatic attempt there from Lakaseljak. Good purchase and power on it, but not quite the direction. Maybe he really is taking a leaf out of Ben Hamlet's book there in that number 9 role.
He showed pretty good technique, but no into the target in the end. For young Lakaseljak, they would have brought the house down if he had fired that one in. Not to be. From the number 9, leading the line here this afternoon. Foley up against Young. Spilt onto the knees of Marnie in the end. Lakaseljak, good touch. And lays it back to Toby Havinen. One look to take 2 on. And just be a goal kick. A lot of talk from both coaches on the touchline earlier about second balls, especially Dan Brown stressing the importance of it. And there's been a fair bit of direct play at times leading to those second balls. As Farrell flicks it to Kemp, nearly found Lakaseljak, and in the end Berezanski was making up the ground. South starting to take control of this match for a decent start from the Knights. The goal seems to have settled this South outfit. Lakaseljak touching from the experienced Jade Clay. Gutierrez Chavez. I think he had the right idea, just didn't have enough on it for Nick Naden. Dig ball over the top was absolutely on there.
Certainly was. And just the Knights in attack, and then as soon as they give the ball away, you can just see everyone going to their designated positions. You just saw Marty completely ignore where the ball was going, just run to the right wing, like Lazinski covering Naden as well. Good understanding of the game plan here from the Knights this afternoon. There's Gorry go back to Farrell. Maybe just starting to press a little more higher up the park of the Knights. I've not seen Graham Wright have this many touches, I don't think, for a whole game this season he's had in the first 27 minutes. There's Ludford. Good ball towards Kemp. Now Havinen. Marnie tracking back, and the backspin on that might make it a corner. Will indeed, the first one from the grandstand side for South. Maybe Kemp will take it from this end of the ground, side of the ground. I think the rain's just getting a little heavier. The fans behind the goal starting to seek a little more shelter. There's Kemp. Takes the corner. Near post. Ludford. I think he was going with the flick on there, but goes over the crossbar for a goal kick. Next up. And Gutierrez Chavez offering short, but will elect to make it a bit longer. Centrally, Young and Foley battling. Foley a little more eager to get on that one, and you can see why. Berezanski coming out. Nesta just getting there in time. Plenty of pace still in the legs of Timmy Nesta there.
A few years between those two as well. The youngest players against some of the older players there. Nesta v Berezanski. But the bookends of their careers. Foley. Another loose pass. Surely that's a throw-in. Actually, the whistle goes. So Tog Hill. Over the head of Albie Lazinski. Then just worked underneath. It was Bellini. Scotsman at Graham Wright. Naden. Farrell wins it back. Oh, under-hit back pass, inviting a little danger with Lazinski lurking. Got away by Graham Wright, and then an awkward one for Clay to deal with. Berezanski wisely just puts it out in front of Gorry. The early cross comes in. Tom Young, again, tracking back, doing the defensive work in midfield. Steering that one away, Tom Young. He's been very good when he's been able to get on the park for the Knights. So he had some injury issues earlier in the season, but pretty solid in the back end of the year as Gorry looks for Berezanski. Tried to swing that one near post. Couldn't quite connect with the teammate, and after 30 minutes gone, still South Hobart holding sway at 1-0.
Kick-off over the other side of the river. Usually the sunny side is the eastern shore, but judging by our lookout, I think it's pretty much the same everywhere in Hobart, between Clarence and Devonport. We'll keep you updated with that one. Miles Barnard obviously hunting for the Golden Boot Challenge. He's said during the week it's not his primary aim, but deep down I really think he'd love to win that trophy this year.
I think that will be Devonport just trying to set the Fox up all day. They can preach the team mentality, and I'm sure for a little while that will be the case. But if they have a 2 or 3 goal lead, it'll turn into just trying to tee up the Fox in the box, I'd have thought. And he scored 8 last time he came down here.
And Bidwell and Fitzgerald are both starting, so the same sources for those 8 goals are out there at Wentworth Park.
Of course, Matty Sanders hitting a brace yesterday, puts him 2 clear. So big afternoon, the Golden Boot race today. Miles Barnard just filled that Braden man void very nicely in the Strikers' attacking line. A good battle developing between those two, and one that I think too many saw coming. Sanders had such a big lead earlier in the year. It seemed unlikely anyone was going to catch him, but Barnard has got close. Lazinski with a chance here, and he's headed it straight into Havine, and then taking a tumble. There's Marnie in the box, somehow stays out, but Toby Havine, not just a save to goal there, blocking Lazinski's header. Jade Clay over the top, that'll hold up nicely for Bellini. Gets there, and then gets brought down by the keeper. And it's a penalty here for the Glenorchy Knights. The magic man Bellini getting the better of Graham Wright, and it'll give them the chance to square it up from the spot.
Yeah, good amount of spin on that through ball. We'll just rewind that a tad more to get you the replay. Wright did really well to prevent Marnie from scoring from a yard out, but then a little bit rash off his line. Well, skidded a bit more than he thought, and conceded the penalty. Let's have another look. Gorry coming from one side. He just lets it roll across his body. I think it's more the pushing motion there of Wright that's probably undone him there. Not a huge amount of contact, but when your arms are sort of like that, or pushing out.
He's not argued.
No, he hasn't.
That's usually a giveaway. He's just turned around and gone, yeah. So it's Albie Lazinski, who scored many a time from the Darcy Street penalty spot. And now he steps up against his former side to try and square this one up. And he duly does just that. Strokes home confidently. Albie Lazinski on the score sheet. 1-1 at Darcy Street.
Cool finish from Albie Lazinski. He's worked tirelessly so far in the first half hour of this game. And confident penalty run up there from the big man. Knights fans in attendance enjoying that one. But yeah, as you say, no real complaints from the keeper for the penalty shout. Lazinski never looked like missing, to be honest. Gorry get South Hobart back underway, and we'll see if they stick with this more patient build-up or whether they'll try and be a little more urgent with their ball speed. Dogger Brown just letting the players play for the moment. Right. Farrell. Now Gutierrez Chavez presses. Really wants the ball, and when Tony Pert holds the whistle for that long, it usually means a slice of cheese is coming. And there is one for Declan Foley, much to the enjoyment of the Knights faithful. Getting a slice of cheddar against his former side.
Decent contingent of Knights faithful here too, making good noise here. As just got there first, basically. Foley, not too much you could do, but once the player gets there first, you're always going to find yourself in trouble. It was very cleverly done by Gutierrez Chavez. And Knights buoyed by that goal, looking to dial up the pressure here. It'll be the man who won the free kick to take it. Gutierrez Chavez, his best work over the dead ball though, easily away by Kemp. Poor ball, couldn't find Gorry. Now it's Bellini looking for Lazinski, so to Naden. Oh, the first time volley flashing just past the post. Delightful ball from Bellini. And not too far away from taking the lead here, the Knights.
Where's the marking?
Ghosted in.
Naden had 5 yards either side of him there. It was a very intelligent run into the box. And some creaky moments at the back here for South Hobart as this half wears on. Gorry back to Farrell. The Knights here had their tails up at Darcy Street. Farrell to Foley. Bowman, good challenge there from Lazinski, robs him of the ball, and Bellini tried to get the return, but Lazinski was barely back to his feet. Foley going to get on the ball a little bit more. Ludford. Again, even when just passing it around the back, it's a little loose from South at the moment. Foley. Vine's been screaming for the ball for about a minute in front of us on the grandstand side, and still yet to receive it. And it's just pace from side to side, not quick enough from South at the moment as Harrison rises high. Kemp, Gorry in a pocket of space on the far side. Good challenge there from Gutierrez Chavez and Jay Clay. Gorry to Foley. Again, South. Back to the centre backs. Ludford. Oh, you're going to have to go back to the keeper here, and does. The Knights' game plan working a treat here so far.
You're really impressed with their discipline and structures. And South, they just need to up the speed of their ball movements at the moment. It's just a bit too slow and laborious. The Knights are just shuffling across and blocking off whichever side of the pitch they're trying to attack down. And they've really blocked off the middle of the field quite nicely with Young and Gutierrez Chavez in particular, just patrolling that area and shutting it down. Now can they get something going down the right here, South Hobart? Adam Gorry, usually such a creative outlet for his side. Laka Seljuk, good play there. Gorry's cross. Had a few to pick out, but he couldn't find any. And Jimmy Nestor clutches that one to his chest.
It's a bit better from South. Just when they play it quicker, they do look threatening every time they go forward, particularly when they can get it towards Kemp, spray it out to Gorry. It's a good tactic, one they haven't used a whole lot so far in this first half. Clay got that one with the shin pad at first. Now twos. It's Clay, back house. Find it towards Naden. Roll challenging well. Gorry looking up. And it's all a bit static at the front line from South at the moment as well. As they try and shuffle this compact Knights defence around. Twos. To Gorry. Naden and Bellini shutting down the angles on this occasion. Ludford. Again, it's now Kobe Kemp. Dropping really deep to collect the ball. Twos. Helps it on towards Gorry. Space thrown into. We'll go back to Foley. He was looking for someone to play the 1-2 there, I think, Gorry, and try and get him behind, but they'll win a free kick. Will South. Assuming that's a late challenge on Laka Seljuk. South not able to make the most of any set pieces at the moment either. 4-6 up for South as Gorry whips it in towards Ludford, just over his head. Cleared by the Knights. Bellini's got a 1v1 with Bowman, and Bowman gets there just in time. Only whacks it out for a throw. Oliver Brown riding every single challenge down there in the technical area. And there's Bellini. Lovely cushion touch and a lovely flick over the top of Bowman there from the Magic Man. Naden can't quite keep a hold of it. He's one of those kind of players who, when he's on form, worth the price of admission alone, is Alessandro Bellini.
Yeah, one of my favourites to watch. He just pulls out some very silky stuff from time to time, and there is the curse of the commentator in full effect. He could not have had a less tidy moment of play. Just go watch that assist from 2 weeks ago against Lonnie City, folks. That's that's why I enjoy his work, not so much for that sort of stuff. So he just passed it straight out, but the 30 seconds prior we saw the type of stuff he's regularly providing for the Knights. Pity he's been so injured this year, really, as has much of the Knights squad. Tom Young doing well to win that one to Lazinski. Just chips it down the line, always favouring Havainen though. And perhaps for the first time all day, the Knights just pressuring the keeper a little as they try to play out, and forces the errant clearance from the Scotsman. Lazinski again the target for all these throw-ins. He couldn't flick that one on for Marnie, however. Berezanski can't get past Toghill, and just a bit too sharp there from Foley for Havainen.
James Sherman down on the sideline for Knights, really happy with the work of his team. It's just imploring them to keep it going till half-time. They've only got 5 minutes, plus probably the customary 1 to go. It's a stoppage. Toghill this time doesn't have Lazinski to aim for. Instead goes to Young. Now Marnie. Gutierrez Chavez with the lofted ball, but it's right down the throat of Graham Wright. Comfortable catch for the keeper. And Kemp. Gorry bombing on down the right. Twos. Now muscled by Clay. And a late call there from Tony Pert. Knights fans not particularly enjoying that decision.
Looked like 2 hands pushing out to me.
Oh, if Graham Wright's incident's a foul, then that's probably a foul. And Ludford towards Farrell. Foley takes an ambitious shot. High and wide there from Declan Foley.
That's showing the frustration South are feeling at the moment. Just not really flowing and breaking down this Knights defence, and just trying the snapshot from range. Credit to Sherman for the way he set this Knights team up. They've certainly stifled South throughout much of this first half. Chavez, Lazinski, now Bellini. Clever little ball for Lazinski. Bombing on was Toghill. Toghill's cross. A little deflection. Marnie got in there first. And his cross well blocked Ludford. And Lazinski and Nader in there, but the Warhorse got in the way. Adam Gorry. Nothing developing on the counter-attack, so you'll just drop it in there for Farrell. Poor ball. Straight to Gutierrez Chavez, and then in turn gifted straight back. No one wants possession, apparently.
Clearly not, and really was a crucial touch there from Ludford, and Graham Wright really amplifying your point there, Andrew, that no one wants possession. I was just going to say, Ludford really had to make that intercept, as I'd rank Aaron Marnie's primary skill is a low fizzing ball across the box from the byline, and there was two players lurking at the back post, really coming off. And it's Toghill, the hopeful punt forward. Ludford, Marnie winning the header against Foley. Lazinski flicking on Belidi first time. Well, the eyes lit up from the Magic Man. He didn't quite get the contact he desired.
If anyone could.
Oh, yeah.
Good Lazinski with these little flicks and hold-up plays. Brought the others in the attack into the game pretty well. Been targeting his head from just about every set piece and every throw in. An amount of work, the big fella. And most of their best chances have had some involvement of the big target man. Inside the final minute plus change of the first half now. Can't imagine there'll be much stoppage time. And goal's probably the longest stops we've had as Adam Gorry drifts inside and then sends it across to Toby Havainen. Havainen with a raking ball over the top, which always favours Dimmy Nesta. Backhouse. Bowman intercepting. Found Kemp. Farrell back to Bowman. Foley. Now Havainen. This is better from South. Toby Havainen. Top of the box to Kemp. Got a little touch on it. Not enough. Farrell. Couldn't find twos. And away from him by Backhouse.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Tony adds any time on it all. Was twos. Plays it back to Gorry. Beresanski and Kemp both taking up pretty much the exact same position in the penalty box. Foley prevents the counter-attack. Gorry looks up, spies three in the box. Harrison manages to clear. Farrell out to Havainen. Tries to go down the byline and beat Marnie for pace. Easier said than done. And that one will trickle out for a throw-in. Probably one last chance for South. Ludford goes towards the back post, over the head of Samuel Twos, and I reckon that'll see us till half-time.
Yeah, I think so, and a pretty good first half for the visitors, the Knights. And fairly evenly fought game, but I think Knights would be the happier of the two sides heading into the sheds. South quite had their normal rhythm this afternoon. Knights doing a pretty good job structuring up and frustrating them, and despite ceding the lead, they've been able to get back on terms thanks to a Lazinski spot kick, and sets it up for a pretty interesting second 45 minutes here. Both teams will feel every chance of going on to take the win, as Tony Pert brings the first 45 to an end, much to the disappointment of the Knights fans who are thinking they're going to get the free kick there. That's a big bear hug from Foley on Lazinski. Good to see, but after the first 45, it's still all very much to play for here between South Hobart and Glenorchy Knights. And let's get that one tidied up. But when do you think the teams will be looking to adjust in the second 45, Paul?
I certainly think that South are going to want to play a little bit quicker and try to play down the wings a bit more. I think they're still stuck in their usual rhythm of Ben Hamlet being up top and using his strength and guile to get in behind the defence, and they just don't have that outlet here today with Laka Seljack up top. Beresanski did well for their goal, and in terms of Knights, I absolutely don't think they should change a thing. I think they need to keep doing exactly what they're doing. Lazinski bringing them back to 1-1. I'd be going in if I was James Sherman saying keep that up. I reckon we're in with a chance to win, boys.
Indeed, so we will leave you there for the first half here at Darcy Street, and be back shortly for the second 45. 1-1 the score after half of the match.
Yeah.
That's why you look seated. Fraser. You've scared them off.
And be inclusive to the rest of the world.
And we're back for the second half here at Darcy Street. And, one change has been pulled by the Glenorchy Knights. Alex Lazinski replaced by Teddy Kadisha, who's slotted into defence. Jade Clay's pushed to fullback, and Backhouse has moved up the field a little bit, I think, is what we'll see. Maybe Naden will be and Bellini will be the central ones, but interesting if that's injury related or purely tactical from Sherman. We'll wait and find out, but a centre back on for his striker and a real reshuffle. So Sherman's seen something and a way to exploit it perhaps. And Naden showing he can do the aerial work early on with a good flick on there. Gorry cleans up. Two's letting it run. And yeah, Jay Clay slotted into left back and Backhouse pushed onto a wing. And Naden has gone centrally. Bit of a rotation, really. One position each.
Yeah.
Real volleyball type stuff.
That's what I'm thinking of. And one substitution and then about 5 different on-field changes. Anyway, shows... I mean, to be fair, all of the players that have moved, they're not unfamiliar to those positions either. We usually see Backhouse on the wing rather than fullback, as Kadisha's first effort is to foul twos, advantage played. Gorry into the box, Berezanski looming off the chest, and it'll roll out for a goal kick. I think Demi Nesta going to touch on that one, just eluding Berezanski, who had it on a platter for him otherwise.
Yeah, I tell you what, Lakaseljic had just peeled off too, and if Gorry hadn't been able to pick him out, it would have been a great chance. Instead, he just rolls it in and straight off the shoulder of Berezanski. Didn't know anything about that. Well done, Nesta, but Gorry maybe could have just worked that one back a little to Lakaseljic, who just dropped off his centre back. Found himself in a yard of space as Foley looks it to Gorry. South showing some good purpose in the early goings here. In the first half, they wouldn't have been overly thrilled with. Ludford does well up against Naden. Coming through was Bellini. Bellini, a definite little chip, but no one making that run. Be gathered by Graham Wright.
And he's expecting Backhouse to push on to claim that through ball. Wasn't happening. Just South haven't made any changes at all. Rather, substitutions all shifting players around on the park. And there's Gorry lays it out to Ludford. Back to the Archer. Knights keeping the shape we saw them have in the first half. Kemp nearly muscled off it by Gutierrez Chavez, who will continue to run and press Graham Wright. Underneath that is Backhouse. Kemp wins the header. Kadisha uses his body well. Clay, raking ball. Graham Wright shouting loud enough for Havinen to leave it. Now, continue the pattern we saw in the first half, South. Happy to keep the ball around the back. Twos. Finds Farrar looking for the runner, Lakaseljak. As Harrison for company, allowed to turn. And I think that was meant to be a low pass to Berezanski. Ended up being a chip through ball to Nesta.
Yeah, not quite what he's going for there, Berezanski, who got himself on the score sheet in the first half, making it 2 in the week, having earned his side a point against Kingborough midweek as Wright punches that one away. Down the middle towards Kemp. Harrison, some strong defensive work. Cody Kemp was on the ball plenty in the first half. He is Gutierrez Chavez, who hits the free kick in the end, went down a little theatrically. There was definitely initial contact. Decided not to go down, then went, hang on, actually, no, I better go down, I think.
Yeah, I think you've read his mind there like a book. He's like, I'll try and play on, and then no.
Nah, there's nothing on. We'll take the free kick. Just an initial little nudge there, not a heap in it. Not enough to draw the foul as the magic man Bellini just bends this one to the top of the box. Leaping early was Harrison. Tom Young bringing it down. Shot blocked by the Archer Bowman. And cannon back into Young for a goal kick. This was silkily done initially by Thomas Young, but well done by Bowman.
Nearly a Falcon goal.
That fly stop corner, that's goal of the year, and I don't care.
Yeah, that's one you'd be tempted to have a very, very long, hard-fought campaign for votes if that one was to go in. Well, saying the last couple of years haven't been decided by similar campaigns.
Stay tuned for that one tomorrow night. The final voting list comes out on that one. The campaigns can begin. As this one's chipped over the top, Graham Wright should get there first. Bit more tempo about the opening 5 minutes of this first half than we saw at times in the first, I feel.
Yeah, I'd certainly agree with that. South, just when the centre-backs and the full-backs picking the ball up, they're not at least first looking back. They're having a look up, see if there is a forward pass on. If it's not, then they go back, but the intent is good. Bowman, or as Gorry. Two's going to try and roll play. And instead whacks it towards Gorry. Kadisha coming in and clearing that one into touch confidently. Farrell. Twos will win the throw in off Backhouse. Gorry to Kemp. Trying to roll Kadisha. Immediately puts his hands up in defence there as Kadisha. Gorry. Flick on header, nearly falling. Lakaseljak. Havinen. Now the Warhorse Ludford. Down to Havinen. I think he'd love an option to try and switch the play here, Ludford. Instead goes the powerful cross. Backhouse. Gutierrez Chavez. And it's a Clay. The under-hit pass there from Clay. Fortunate to win a throw-in for his side. Without Casper Hallam on the field, it seems like the Sam Twos fan club is the most vocal here in the Darcy Street grandstand. Kemp. Howells for a high boot. Advantage played by the referee. The cross coming in. Tolkiel managing to clear. Gutierrez Chavez wearing Kobe Kemp there like a cheap suit. There's South build up from the back once more. Corral out to the Archer. Gorry thought about making the run. Go back to Foley with a few players on a slice of cheese so far in this game. Havinen, low ball towards Lakaseljak. Harrison wanting to try and turn and get some space. It's Berezanski who hits it. And getting there first is Naden. The charging run from Young. Great challenge from Sammy Berezanski tracking back. Gorry gets his head up, crosses the ball in and cleared by Harrison. It's a great covering challenge there from Berezanski.
He's done well there, the youngster. Stalling back here, sliding in. Oh, Nathan, perfect execution as that's a light play, a wild shot. Well wide of the mark there, twos. Really looking a chance of bending that one home. And South have started this half a little bit brighter than they played the first. Decent response from them so far. Dingy Nestor in the final half of his fabulous career here. Trying to love to pull off one or two big saves just to go out with a bang as Toghill nods it down, robbed by Kobe Kemp though, and Kobe Kemp swings it to twos, weaving one way, and Kadisha steps in, thumps it clear. Naden now the centre forward, and he turns Bowman pretty well, but no one had made a run to that side of the pitch. He feels he was probably having his shirt pulled too there. Probably as a case, Nick Naden. It was a sharp little turn from him. Over the top for twos. Points for him to pitch, and that just allowed a foot in for the experienced Jade Clay. Felt he should have got the throw in. That might just be more savvy veteran play though, whether he actually believed it or not. Foley. Bellini's block caused a few problems in the defence, but they whisk it away. Gorry and Foley just left it a little short there for Foley. And Foley left a little in on Gutierrez Chavez, who's still on the ground beating the pitch, so Bowman will just play it into touch for him.
I did enjoy it, just how the corner Dogger Brown just had his arm around Casper Hallen issuing some instructions, and then literally mid-sentence stopped to appeal for that free kick. It was a nice little moment there. It was Foley. Looks like Gutierrez Chavez has pulled up with no one around him. That replay.
Yeah.
I thought it was sort of a coming together between his teammate, but I think he'd actually pulled up before then. Yeah, he has.
He's dug it into the ground there, hasn't he? Yeah.
I thought his own teammate collected him with that trailing leg. He's pulled up all his lonesome, which usually indicates a more serious injury.
Yep, that's happened one stride before the contact, so looks like, yeah, the salad Bellini might be summoned.
Good to see the salad.
Him.
Good to see the salad back in the NPL Taz. Another player from the Knights who's had injury issues over the course of this season since moving across from Olympia. And Casper Hallam also looking likely to come on at some point for South. An injection of pace up against the experienced fullbacks of Toghill and Clay will add a nice dimension to this second half as well.
So it could be subs on both benches by the looks of it.
Tony Perk calling for the stretcher as well.
So Gutierrez Chavez looks like this could be the end of his season.
Yeah.
So likely to keep him out of the final game, just 6 days away. So this could be the last we see of Gutierrez Chavez, and disappointing way for it to end if it is the case.
Been one of the few constants in this Knights side over this season as well, playing just about every game since arriving. Both sides taking the opportunity to get together and have a chat. So Gutierrez Chavez season is done. We hope it's nothing too serious for the Knights import. Does look in some discomfort.
Yeah, clearly not in a great way there, unfortunately, Gutierrez Chavez. So all the best for his recovery, and now we will get those substitutes, Hallam and Bellini, set to come on.
Twos coming off for South, or
Foley.
Declan Foley.
So a bit of a reshuffle taking place perhaps. Kemp maybe moving more centrally, but here comes Casper Hallam. Let's see if his fan club's in attendance today.
That was pretty.
Maybe not, that's underwhelming.
That's exceptionally underwhelming.
Yeah, Casper Hallam fan club not in attendance today apparently.
Clearly not as large a one as it was an FFA Cup night.
Heartthrob Hallam, I think they were calling it after that night. Just a clutch of screaming admirers for him. Put it that way.
We could hear it, and we were in a different postcode.
Yes. Just absolutely got them excited, Casper Hallam.
I must say, this has got to be the shortest, youngest forward line I think I've ever seen South put out. We've got Berezanski, Twos, and Hallam.
The future is now at Darcy Street.
Have any of them graduated Year 12?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Oh, miscommunication at the back, and Twos nearly comes in. Nesta had come 3/4 of the way. Kadesha's putting his arms out, saying, why didn't you come the other 5 metres?
Yeah, I think Kadesha thought his keeper was going to get that one, and just hesitating from Jimmy. Does allow him to just pull off a very nice recovery save in the end, though.
Doing it for the highlight reel.
Yes, and he took the touch off Twos anyway, so won't be the goal kick. Just wants a few saves to go out with a bang.
I bet he hasn't had a lot of highlight reel saves to make in his final senior appearance here this afternoon.
South haven't created too many chances.
He couldn't do much about their goal.
No, absolutely nothing about that. Just sat up with a sign that said hit me. 10 yards out. Berezanski said thank you very much. Harvey Lazinski scoring from the spot 20 minutes or so later. And that is why we're still locked at 1. The Warhorse Ludford to Lakaselyak. Havainen. Smashed away by Teddy Kadesha. There's Bowman. And going to play for the throw in.
Marnie thought he had the opportunity to counter there with Gorry running in behind. Touch just eluding him at that particular moment. It was Ludford. Lions Lakaselyak now playing in his more traditional position of centre midfield. It's a lovely ball to play in backhouse. Marnie's free. I think he's offside, Bellini, but still onside. He touched it. Naden running in from behind. And Bellini clearly made a play at the ball. That would have been an interesting decision had he not touched it. He's clearly offside. Naden running in behind him, controls it perfectly.
Yeah, just needed to leave that one for Naden. Don't know if he got the shout or not. It's, certainly it was a beautifully timed run from Naden, and frustrated with his teammate for that one. As half-time at Wentworth Park, 2-0 the score to Devonport. No goals to Miles Barnard, so Matthew Sanders still 2 goals clear in the Golden Boot race, which is a big battle in the NPL Taz over the final couple of weeks, really. As Sanders and Barnard going head-to-head. No fox sightings as of yet over at Wentworth Park. Bowman knocks it back to the Scotsman again. Knight's quite content just to sit off, and it's Kemp dropping really deep now. Just sending that one along. Clay down to Casper Hallam. Worked off it by Marnie. Berezanski. He's got a great sense of where to go to. Looks this one across to Gorry. Non-preferred left. Well done, Jade Clay, just to force him back. And then they go to Gorry. And Hallam, and Gorry wasn't expecting their return ship to run onto at the same page there. Ludford and the salad Bellini. There's the magic man Bellini. So Bellini's in attack here for the Knights at the moment, leading the line, those two.
I'm getting shades of yesterday with having 2 Chambers up front for Olympia Warriors women's side and 2 Bellinis up front for the Knights. There's Lakaselyak to Gorry. Hallam in a good pocket of space, but Jinx inside Clay. Naden can't foul him there, and Hallam's free on the overlap. Casper Hallam goes near post. Gorry turns away to fall to Farrell. Good save, Nesta. Up again is Twos. He goes down dramatically, and then over the top from Toby Havainen. Dimitri Nesta coming up with a strong save down low to his right.
And didn't the crowd enjoy that one too? I thought this was going to be Farrell making it 2-1. And down was Dimmy Nesta, one he should be making, but does so well. Technique. As the crowd really rising for Dimmy's drawn a fair bit of support here in his final game. Popular man at the club. He smashes this one long. Worked on by Thomas Young, but straight to the Ludford. Good attack there from Jade Clay. Spins into the path of Marnie. He's got a tough battle up against Gorry. Does well just to win the throw. Good shift here this afternoon, Aaron Marnie. buzzing about. Perhaps fancying the long throw here, Jade Clay. Every indication he's just going to give this one a bit of a launch. Naden and Young likely targets. The way to Ludford in the end, spills out the backhouse direction. Backhouse to Alessandro Bellini. Meant it back. Couldn't quite make that work, backhouse. And now they might be open on the counter-attack here. Oh, crucial slip from Tyler Harrison. Lets in Kobe Kemp. Kemp rolls it across for twos. And it was a wild shot. He didn't have the Tekkers right there. Sammy Twos puts it past the post. And a real let-off here after Harrison's slip. It invited plenty of danger. Just did take a bobble on him, to be fair.
Yeah, I think we'll bail him out on that one there with the unfortunate bobble right in front. Tyler Harrison speeding back to try and cover with unfortunate slip.
Is that a cat or a dog?
I was just thinking that, actually. I thought cat, but I didn't really want to say anything. Nesta.
That's what I'm thinking too. Just bring your cat to the football, why not?
Oh, look.
South Brom's with dogs on this deck, as I recall, not with cats.
During the week, I found my new favourite Instagram page, which is Non-League Dogs, which is just a photo of non-league grounds in the UK and people with their dogs sitting in seats, grandstands. Wonderful page.
Very niche areas.
Hell, very niche.
It must be getting late in the season, but yeah, next time we've got a goal kick, we need to zoom in on and figure that one out, I reckon, as Gorry sees that one into touch. Get back to our more nonsensical roots here at Slice of Cheese.
Speaking of end of season.
As Sherman and Pert exchanging words on the touchline there. Hallam unable to get in behind Marnie. Did really well there, Aaron Marnie. Now Tom Young turns and takes off, and nothing on the Archer Bowman, and covering across with the Warhorse Lightford before Naden could pounce. Straight between the legs here from Tommy Young. Bowman just leaving the hole open for him.
Certainly more noise from the away fans here this afternoon. And a good contingent of the Knights. I think they can sense something on the counter-attack here. Noticing South have also dropped about 5 metres deeper from this Jay Clay throw-in. I think Ludford, having played against Clay a fair bit down the years, knew what was coming, but a few of his teammates not quite. As Clay sends it in, tries to go the flick on, did Young. Hallam full clear, looks for twos. Lovely layoff to Lacus Seljak, and it's set up nicely for him. Tolkiel misses it. Berezanski, Havinen on the overlap. Kemp inside. Instead goes to twos. Who's misplaced pass. Can't find a teammate. Now Marnie can come back the other way. Naden clipped afterwards. Advantage paid. Tommy Bellini. Naden. Marnie just going to elude Marnie as Graham Wright comes out to collect. But this last 5 minutes, a lot more tempo to the contest.
Yeah, and Knights fans getting excited, and their players warming to it like a subject. The ground starting to open up a little as Backhouse has it to Kadisha. Misplaced that one straight to the French Falcon. It's Kobe Kemp. Adam Gorry. South just looking to settle it down a little and get some of the sting out of this one. Increasing tempo seems to be favouring the Knights at the moment. A good little spell. Every act they're doing is drawing the appreciation of the crowd. Meanwhile, Hugh Ludford is going to be booked, as that was the first stoppage since that free kick from the advantage a good minute or two ago. And a slice of cheddar for Hugh Ludford.
I think he was hoping Tony Pert had forgotten about that.
I'd forgotten about it. Well, that's right.
And all over it. There's our referee in the middle today. Kemp. That's a Gorry. Lovely little nutmeg by Kemp. Twos trying to hold his run. Kadisha with a strong challenge, and Naden now trying to take on Ludford for pace. Going around the outside is Dayton. Marnie is in an acre if he can get it to him at the back post. Great defence from Jack Bowman. Coming across. Oh, and then just hands it straight back to the opposition. Marnie, Naden, Young there waiting. So's Bellini. Bellini with the shot. Still got it as Bellini. Trying to get it on his right peg. Jinx again. Bellini. Timid shot. Comfortably saved by Wright. And the Knights should have done a lot better on that occasion. Now Lacus Seljak. There's Gorry. Look at the gap between either side's defence. I'll admit, I had the camera in my way for that.
Well, the camera and the pole, so
yeah.
even less chance. But a slice of cheese has been issued to the Magic Man, Bellini. We'll have to rely on the replay for that one. I'm sure those at home are already well aware of what it was for. But Gorry making an inside run there, and that is just very poorly timed. And a very straightforward slice of cheese there for Tony Pear to issue. As Gorry from the dead ball swings in, away by Young. Kemp, Berezanski, blocked again by Thomas Young, and then a wayward effort from Kobe Kemp. We reach the midway point of the half, and really end-to-end open and enthralling affair starting to develop here. Both teams pushing hard for the win, and I think to a pretty good spectacle in the second half so far.
And as we're on animal watch here, I'm going to say...
Yeah, I'm leaning dog now.
Yeah, I am as well.
There's Nesta. Smashes this one long. Yeah, it's not really that remarkable side of them.
Answering the most important things here at Slice of Cheese. Mind you, taking your dog to a South Hobart game, risky.
Very dangerous areas.
That guy needs a new phrase. Is like a Seljack. Running down the wing. Berezanski trying to get on that right peg. Had twos on the overlap. Trying to get it back to a teammate and wins the free kick. Wouldn't be surprised to see Kobe Kemp straight across and have a ping from this one.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Kobe Kemp put this one top bins. The way he strikes a dead ball. It's a clear infringement against Tog Hill there, leaving the foot in. Presents the opportunity here. Gorry also lurking, but you'd fancy Kobe Kemp will take the strike on. He scored some pretty nice free kicks down the journey. He steps up here. He goes low on this occasion. And with the little chaos ball in there, wasn't the right option. Dealt with, and this one, well, deflected into Naden. It's going to spill out to Graham Wright.
Now, if that deflected and looped right, that would have been goal of the year.
Got a fair piece of it, Naden. That far away as this one's over Toghill's head. Havainen has just snuck in behind there, but across to deal with it was Tyler Harrison.
Rest of South Hobart subs beginning to warm up for the first time this afternoon. And Farrell finds Havainen. Kemp trying to open up and go the other way. Knights doing well to close that down. Ludford to Farrell. Good flick towards Hallam, looking to take on Toghill. Whips it in near post. Nesta punches. Farrell takes a touch. No foul. Ends up in the box with twos. And a shot well blocked from Jay Clay. It'll be another South Hobart corner. Twos I thought was beginning to tire, but showing good fresh legs to turn in the box there.
Yeah, some lovely work from Farrell too, having his shirt ripped off, kept his feet. So the corner's taken quickly short, dummied there, but Marnie alert and then skips away, but closed down by Laka Seljack, attempted to clear. Who's got something left in the tank here late on at Darcy Street? Either of these teams step up and find the match winner. Closely fought game this afternoon. Kemp lofting it forward, away by Kadisha. Farrell to Gorry. Again Farrell. Young. Straight to Kobe Kemp though, now Berezanski. Oh, one way then the other, and then couldn't get past Kadisha. Kobe Kemp on the volley! And in the end, gathered by Dimmy Nesta. It was a rasping shot from Kemp. Fizzed the fingertips, and he brings it down the second time of asking.
Not the greatest clearance from Nesta after making that save. Harrison. Naden flicks it on, looking for Bellini. Now, like a Seljack. Gorry looks up, wants to find twos. And he does. Lays it back towards Kobe Kemp. Eyes lining up. Hits it with the left. Straight into the chest of Jimmy Nesta. He's having to do a bit more work here in this second half. His final senior appearance for the Knights. And it's a much better purchase on that kick out than the one before. Bowman having to backtrack. Should be enough on it to find right, and just does enough to prevent a corner. 72 minutes gone. And South will continue to play it out from the back. Just thought James Sherman there was about to warm up. He's actually just going back to the changing rooms.
Well, maybe to get some boots, Paul.
Could be. Could be. He might have something special up his sleeve. We did forecast if there's a late free kick. Might just sub himself on. Might do it a bit earlier than anticipated. Lakaseljak. Kadisha. Now out to Berezanski. Halloman twos waiting in the centre. Cleared just out of the reach of Backhouse. Crossfield ball. Tinchmani probably unnecessarily heads out for a throw. I don't think any South player was likely to get that. Kemp. Lovely turn to get away from Young. Kemp wants to find the run of Gorry. Get to him eventually. Now Kemp. Lofted ball towards the back post. Hallam, despite not having the height advantage, manages to win that one in front of Harrison and win the corner as well.
There's Lakaseljak there, the back stick, but count out Kobe Kemp. There's a pair of turns and then just swings this ball in to the back post. Pretty good battle between the two there, Harrison and Lakaseljak, but Kobe Kemp showing his class, trying to exert his influence. He's offering short here. There's Adam Gorry. Flicked over. A couple of were attacking it at the back post. Now Jade Clay will look to clear it out. Oh, there's a bursting run being made by Bellini down the middle. That's exactly where he heads. Just took it a little away from him. Allows the South defence to get back, but still going is Tommy the Salad Bellini. He squares it to Nick Naden. Naden! Sore Knights! They will open up at the back, and Nick Naden applies the finishing touch. And they're 15 minutes away from sending Nesta off a winner.
Oh, blistering counter-attack from the Knights. About 12 seconds end-to-end. The corner taken at one end. Jay Clay stayed on side to Bellini. He was in his own half, despite Bowman trying to play the offside. And had Kobe Kemp to get around. Aiden busting a gut to get up there. Holds his run well. And I thought at this moment Avina had just done enough, but it's fallen to him. May have gone through the legs of Graham right there. But the Knights take a 2-1 lead. And based on the balance of play in this second half, I reckon they've set up well enough and they're probably good for a second.
Nicholas Naden, so the Knights not too far away now from making it what would be very impressive back-to-back victories over top four sides. And South Hobart need to find a late equaliser here. It was nicely taken by Naden. Good composure from Tommy Bellini in the build-up too. Running at Kobe Kemp, using the support. And Naden, sharp touches, Teddy Kanisha. Just targeting the South Hobart staff there. He's
broken a Bunnings chair.
He has broken a Bunnings chair. He's fair blasted that one. And let's cop the false campsite treatment as this one is over the top. Kadisha, can he break another one? No, he keeps this one in play. Found Tom Young. A little bit of trouble though. Lakaseljak working back well. Naden beat his opposite number to the ball, but Kemp recovered it, and then a fairly late lunging challenge there by Naden will be brought back.
I think we're going to have a replay of the chair break. Yeah.
Shattered.
Setting the South bench, ducking for cover. And as Toghill tries to flick it around, and I'll tell you what, I love a coach inserting himself onto the field, and I think it's imminent from Sherman. He's taken the jacket off, the warm-up's coming. I love to see the big Sherman tank.
This is what we like. We've been calling for this all year. The Sherman tank's just going to roll himself out there to win this one.
He's done it a couple of times this year, but never on a game that we've managed to cover, so good to see.
Giving the people what they want.
Absolutely. He'll probably just insert himself right in front of the back four, play that anchorman type role. As South will continue to push for an equaliser. Kemp tries to find Gorry, flicks it to Berezanski. Jinking inside, Young, Lakaseljek, Kadisha. Lakaseljek still going. Rather than paying advantage, he's given the free kick as Tony Pert. I'm not sure if they really wanted that. It is in Kobe Kemp territory, though.
Yeah, with Kobe Kemp, it might be the high percentage option to take the free kick. Well, I'm sure the advanced stats would say you're a high probability of scoring it, but it did feel like a particularly good move that was developing. Acres of space for Berezanski out on the right, however. It'll be Kobe Kemp from the free kick. He leaves it for Gorry. Smashed it right into the wall. Lakaseljek, his volley blocked too. Berezanski can't get it out from underneath him. And cleared away to the Archer Bowman. Good ball for Kemp. Yeah, but the peck there to Gorry just stands it up into the mixer. And the Knights defence hold firm once again. Bellini doesn't get much distance with the clearance. And South will look to their bench. And Noah Gardner looks like he's about to get a run on here.
Yeah, thank you everyone in the crowd yelling, yeah, Noah, as I've never seen him in my life before.
Distinctive hair.
I've realised.
As a connoisseur of salads, you'll enjoy this one, Paul.
God, I've got Bellini and now Noah Gardner on the field. This is exceptional salad form here this afternoon. Berezanski coming off.
So Noah Gardner, those unfamiliar with him, called up to the Joeys, the under-15 national training camp recently. So a youngster with considerable promise about him. And he comes on here for South Hobart to try and spark a late fight back. But Matthias Toghill sliding in, smashing this one away from him.
His NPL debut.
And that's one for Benny Smith, the stats man. I haven't seen him before, but look, there's some possibility he's been on a bench and come on late in a match before, but I think it might be. I've certainly not seen him.
You and I haven't seen him. I mean, while we will get confirmation, that one's gone 2 sheds over, that clearance. We've seen that one for a while. But yeah, if you or I haven't seen him, it's probably likely, but we'll get confirmation later. Well, the youngster off the conveyor belt here at South Hobart. They just continue to produce them. There's Vinan back to Farrell. Ludford's nowhere inside at centre-back at the moment. He's trotting back now. I thought he might have inserted himself up front for the last 10 minutes. And Gardner's first touch is back to the Warhorse Ludford. Chip through ball looking for Kemp. Nesta this time with a loud shout. Collects well. Use all 7 seconds. Reckon the head of Naden is the target. Instead goes towards Marnie. I think he did get the last touch. Tuivasa. And Gorry to take the throw. Lakaseljek. Hallam manages to turn around Clay. Still going, Casper Hallam. Look at the pace of Jay Clay to catch up with Casper Hallam. Kadisha coming across there. Casper Hallam has burnt a lot of players in the league this year. Jay Clay turning, chasing. Very well from the experienced defender.
Tell you what, I know they started him young at South Hobart, but Martin Moncourt was just taking that to the extreme a minute ago. Bringing a baby into the technical area. He's really pushing the limit for how young. As Casper Hallam's cross charge now, just casually striding down to the field with the baby. I was like, well, I know we talk about the South Hobart youth, but that would be a record for a youth contract, I reckon. I'm sure that the Moulton Soccer School does the 1-year-olds, but maybe.
They do too, because I drove past a big sign today saying they do 2 to 5.
Well, there you go. Maybe they're trying to get that 0 to 2 demographic now too. Either way, a corner opportunity here for South Hobart. And I'm Gorry to take as they try and find an equaliser here. Gorry pending it in. Off the arm, just about of Kadisha. Very tight to the body, driven back and well wide by Havinen. Who I don't think's hit one as well as he hit that one Pitchford denied him with earlier in the year. If that doesn't go in, When are you ever going to score from long range if you hit it that well? Still can't get him in.
No, absolutely. He's done well from closer range so far this season, but yeah, anything outside the 18 has eluded him so far. And it's Nesta launches the goal kick in the Naden and Young direction. Young flicks it on, might fall to Bellini here. Ludford at the last moment. Naden, in comes Aaron Marnie. Marnie, good save from Graham Wright. Second opportunity for Marnie. It's a heavy touch, and it'll just elude him. Eyes lit up there from Aaron Marnie. It was on his non-preferred. He was desperately trying to get a bit more power on that right foot. Made himself big, did Graham Wright. As Kadisha should be able to mop up here. Only as far as Lakaselchek. Bellini to Thomas Bellini, who's another one who's slipped over on the Darcy Street pitch. Bowman. 7 minutes plus stoppage time for South. Kadisha knocking it straight to Kobe Kemp, who spied the run of twos. In the end, Harrison comes across to mop up. Oliver Brown desperately searching with the spare ball. Good bowling arm action there from Dogger.
Yeah, just rolling the arm over nicely there. It was a real bowl first type conditions when we rocked up at the ground, quite muggy and overcast. As Luke Farrell combines with Hallam out to Kobe Kemp. Jay Clay has been very solid today though. The experienced defender steers this one away. This will be the pattern of the last few minutes here. South Hobart knocking on the door. The Knights just trying to see it out for back-to-back 2-1 wins over top 4 teams. As this is building all right though. Gardner flicked it to Havine, ran into a brick wall in the form of Matthias Toghill though. Wasn't getting past him. Throw in quickly taken by Ludford. 5.5 minutes left in regulation. Try and find a leveller. Kemp. Ludford again. Havainen. Ludford switching this one up. Couldn't quite find Adam Gorry. It'll stay in for him though. Jinx back around Clay nicely. Adam Gorry into the box. Twos! Oh, well done. It might have been Harrison who got the final contact. Ian Nesta just flung himself in the way. And they see it behind for a corner.
And just backing in to the centre-back twos, creating some separation. Maybe just took it a little too close to the byline. Would have been difficult to get it in there, and I think that has come off the foot of Harrison rather than Nesta. It'll be Gorry. Delivers it low towards Ludford, gets the return ball. Now Gorry. High over towards the back post. Clay will clear. Bellini clipped Hallam. And we'll get another set-piece opportunity. Will South. Pretty much everyone forward for South. They've got Graham Wright and Bowman and Kemp, and everyone else is in the 18-yard box. And there's Kemp. Lofts this one towards the back post. Cleared again by Clay. He's everywhere at the moment, Jay Clay. Now Hallam. Knights trying to step up. Bowman. Now Kemp. Looking towards Lakaselchek, knocks it down towards Ludford, trying to turn. Shot blocked by Kadisha. Farrell gets his head up. Marnie manages to clear. That was it with some venom.
That was an absolute rocket of a hit. Smashed it. Kadisha definitely off the arm, but pretty close to the body. And I think Pert determining he had no chance of getting out of the way of that one, given it was hit at near light speed. Probably an understandable goal. It was a little bit away from the body, but really the right call. And now the break is on the other way. The Salad Bellini running at Bowman. He's got Naden bursting through the middle and doing exactly the right thing there. It was Jack Bowman and just taking the cheese and going, I'll just let the defence reset as he fells Bellini here. And probably the right option.
Yeah, he does, but he deserves to give Kobe Kemp a big thank you, because if Kobe Kemp wasn't there, I reckon that's a red.
Yeah, I think safely knew that he was.
Yeah.
knew that Naden was going to be a threat in the middle. Just went, nah. Just going to take you out and take the yellow. Again, Bellini on the break. It's a more tired-looking counter-attack, that one, though. Naden wasn't quite offering the same burst through the middle. And he'll stand over. It's Alessandro Bellini. Comfortably enough there for Graham Wright. Quick release for Gorry. And Hallam, and this is a very sharp break from South developing. Casper Hallam didn't get past Kadisha. Won that strongly, and now it might be the Knights who are a threat. Clay, he's got Marnie on the outside. Got there before Ludford. And then knocked it past him, but Ludford eventually, and somewhat ungainly, but he's able to clear the area of Einan. It is end-to-end stuff here. Noah Gardner just rolled it down the line for twos. Harrison got there first, whacked it away. Kobe Kemp. And Bowman. 90 seconds left in regulation here. South searching for the equaliser. Ludford. Poor ball straight to Jay Clay, and he clears it for about the 30th time today. He's been very, very efficient in defence today, has Jay Clay.
Yeah, you were mentioning the overcast conditions before. Good cricketing conditions if you're a bowler. Jay Clay, very good cricketer. Maybe he prefers this weather as the all-round sportsman that he is, something neutral. As that one will go to the head of Clay. This time cleared by Harrison. Naden has time to control this, but didn't get the shout from Bellini. Farrell had dropped about 10 yards off him. And we flagged about 10 minutes ago Coach James Sherman bringing himself on. He's doing the longest warm-up I've ever seen down in front, but he's finally about to bring himself on. Here's the coach. Here's Bowman. To Hallam. Looks up and doesn't have a whole lot in the middle to aim for. Does have Kemp. Twos. Kemp. Kobe Kemp. He's again not going to let him shoot. He's going to give the free kick. The South Hobart faithful could see Kobe Kemp hitting that one with the laces there.
Certainly the call, and yeah, there's a few bodies back in the way. I suppose he's still going to get the chance to shoot. It's from the dead ball rather than open play. So here we go. The stage is set for Kobe Kemp, maybe even for Dimmy Nesto just to close out his career with a big save, because he might well be called upon here. It's Kobe Kemp who drives it wildly wide of the mark. And for the powerful hit there. Couldn't find the back of the net, and just to settle it down for stoppage time, it's going to be the General Sherman just to insert himself there. And giving this raucous crowd exactly what they want.
He's going to bump himself up top. There's James Sherman, which I do like. He does play pretty regularly for the Champ 2 side, we should say. He's in pretty decent nick. Not quite, obviously, NPL level that league, but he certainly runs around a fair bit every week. He's not unfit by any stretch of the imagination.
If he wasn't coaching, I'm sure he'd still be a perfectly adequate starter in this league. He's team of the season, his last full season he played, I think, before going back to Knights when he was at Zebras. But certainly that's at NPL level, obviously not championship level, but we'll see if he can make an impact in stoppage time here. Although he'll mainly be just trying to hold on to this lead as he slides on in here. And just a foul, just not too thrilled about.
He's got the socks dirty at least to look like he's put his body about.
More of the player, Coach Paul. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real throwback.
Absolutely. I mean, Ken Morton was one in the 80s as well, but we don't have many these days, which I'm all about. There's Kemp. Goes towards the back post. Ludford pushing off. Cleared by Bellini. Another opportunity for Kemp to swing it in. Kemp. Rangy ball. Nesta with the punch. It'll fall to Adam Gorry. He thought about having a shot. Instead whacks it right into Nick Naden. Dogger Brown wants a free kick for handball. Not sure what Naden could do from such close range. Tries to find twos. Only as far as Thomas Young, who'll do well to head to the corner flag. Runs past Gorry. Cynically fouled from South Hobart's favourite ringer. And the slice of cheese issued to Adam Gorry. the assistant on the bench maybe appealing for something more as well. There were a few defenders covering back. Lewis Young cynically taken out there from Adam Corrie.
Yeah. He was storming away from Gorrie there and felt it was his only recourse. And Clay, is he swinging it in the mixer or do they just head wide from this one? And he's going to try and catch Graham right out. But I tell you what, he was well off his line there, just didn't quite get the contact.
I don't mind
towards
that.
the bench, but great idea, I think.
Don't mind it.
Wright was really cheating off his line. And Jay Clay tried the worldie to beat him. And we've ticked to 93 minutes now. I think the final whistle fairly imminent here. Might be one last chance for South Hobart if they can generate it. As Naden blocks that one away. And they're nearly there now, Knights. And they're finishing the year with a good run of form. Not far away from knocking off the Lacka Seljuk Cup champions here. Clay smashes it onto the head of Young. Ludford steering it forward, and that will do from Darcy Street. And Dean Esther will bow out a winner. The Glenorchy Knights down South Hobart 2-1, and on the balance of play, probably a fair result for mine, Paul.
I mean, full credit to the Knights for executing the game plan. Full credit to Coach James Sherman for implementing it. It was a wonderful exhibition from the Knights. South, a little lethargic in the first half, did take the lead. And then once the Knights really got back on term, the game was even, or at least played on their patch, the Knights, despite being away from home, roared on by a raucous away crowd. Dibby Nesta receiving the applause as well. As we have a look at that first goal, Berezanski slotting that one away. But really, South just unable to penetrate the Knights' defensive line. Even had a couple of injuries thrown into the mix as well. To come across with the win, full deserving of the Knights, and defeating two teams above them in the ladder in the last couple of weeks. They are finishing strong.
Yeah, I think we've seen a taste of maybe what could have been for Knights over these past couple of weeks. Obviously, they've had a pretty horrendous run of injuries this season. We'll get Dimmy Nesta getting the Garda one walking off here in a moment for you after the goal highlights, as he is the goal that would seal it for them. But they've had a more settled lineup later in the season. Still not full strength. I'm sure they'd love the Brown boys in particular out there, but we've seen what they're capable of, and I think what we should expect to see next year, as we will now have Jimmy Nesta getting the guard of honour here at Darcy Street as he makes his exit for the final time. A wonderful servant of Tasmanian football and the Glenorchy Knights, and you can see the respect. And South Hobart will join in this guard of honour too, which is excellent to see.
Yeah, Ludford could see what was happening and got the rest of his troops over the captain for South, but a fantastic career for Dibby Nesta. Decades and decades of service to the sport. Well done there from both sides.
It's not just the longevity, it's the popularity. Everyone you speak to speaks so highly of him as a teammate, Jimmy Nesta. And he signs out with a victory, and they'll be delighted they've been able to deliver that for him here at Darcy Street this afternoon. South, they've wobbled a little towards the end of the season, injuries starting to catch up for them. But as we said, you look at the youngsters out there, when you got Twos, Berezanski, like a Seljuk, Hallam, who else have I missed in there? Gardner. I mean, you've got 15, 16-year-olds running around in senior football. It bodes well for the future, and I suppose that's what a large part of this is all about for them now, with the title out of their reach. But that'll be us from Darcy Street. And for the penultimate time in the NPL Tasmania this year, we'll be back at this venue next Saturday with the champions Devonport looking to sign off in style. There'll be a golden boot up for grabs potentially. Join us for that one, but from Darcy Street here today, it was Dimmy Nesta bowing out in style. Glenorchy Knights 2, South Hobart 1.